Here we are gathered to listen to the story of the day the light shined in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. Yearning for the light feels all the more poignant now, after 2.5 years of life in darkness. This feeling of running in the dark as we are tossed about by the whims of forces much bigger than we are pervades our recent collective history. On Tuesday, I went to my favorite nail salon for a Christmas manicure. I'm going to show you all now since I'm home and you can't see it. Very proud of these. All those in the salon were buzzing about the coming winter storm, lamenting canceled flights and interrupted plans. I laughed sheepishly as we discussed the storm, admitting that while I knew better, I couldn't help but take the impending weather personally. The storm would surely interfere with our preparations for Christmas Eve service. None of us can control the weather, and so here we were, beholden by the whims of the atmosphere. The following morning, my partner tested positive for COVID after nearly 3 years of successfully dodging the virus. Suddenly, the focus of the stress I'd felt only the day before shifted dramatically. Here was something else that was entirely out of my control. All I could do was embrace reality. In our recent history, we have witnessed the systems and institutions we believed could and would protect us fail to do so. We've observed crumbling infrastructure within our healthcare systems and the fragility of our supply chains. We've squeaked our toes to the edge of authoritarianism and learned exactly how vulnerable our democracy is. We've been tossed about by forces more powerful than any one of us, growing ever more acquainted with the darkness. But in the darkness grows a light, and that light is audacious hope. Perhaps now more than ever, I understand the reactions of Mary and Joseph, the Magi, and the shepherds. When the woes of the world feel enormous, one might be compelled to believe messages delivered by angels and follow stars appearing in the sky. There is a quote attributed to St. Augustine that goes, "Hope has 2 daughters. Their names are anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain that way." There is much debate regarding whether or not St. Augustine actually said these words, but the power of the words is not disputed. Despair and its cousin apathy are what hold us back from pursuing justice. Hope, a mix of anger and courage, is what forces us forward when our present circumstances are both all-consuming and untenable. Hope is a force capable of birthing miracles. After Mary is visited by the angel Gabriel, she sings her Magnificat, a song of revolutionary salvation. She proclaims God's intention to bring down the powerful and lift up the lowly. She sings of her humble status, her spirit rejoicing in the magnitude of God's favor. Through her birthing of this miracle, God will feed the hungry, turn the hearts of the proud, and cast the rich out of their castles. Mary, a poor, unwed, pregnant girl, believes audaciously in the promises of God. Here, her anger at the injustices of a cruel world meet her courage to consent to God's blessing. Here, her hope grows like a baby in the darkness of her womb. Consider the shepherds visited by angels proclaiming the birth of a savior near where they are watching their flocks. Shepherds, society's outcasts, poor, unclean men who live in the wilderness, only their flocks for company. These men, barred from polite society, were among the first to be visited by divine messengers proclaiming the good news. And these shepherds listened, and they went to the manger where the Christ child had been born. These men did not waste time questioning the validity of their vision. They did not remain rooted in fear when the angels appeared. They did not chalk it all up to a shared hallucination. They were ready for revolution, and they answered the call. We must try to imagine what it would be like to be visited by angels when no one else cares to visit you. We must imagine what it would be like to be barred from entry at every doorway, only to be invited to witness the arrival of the Messiah himself. What radical welcome, what transforming hospitality Christ's birth ushers in. I am thinking too about the Magi who came to visit Jesus at the direction of King Herod, a murderous ruler who, fearing the prophecy of a coming Messiah, ordered the execution of all male children under the age of 2 within the vicinity of Bethlehem. It is he who directs the Magi to follow the star so that they may seek out the Christ child. And these Magi put their faith in celestial predictions, and out they go to find Jesus. Once they find him, they are warned in a dream not to return to King Herod, and so they depart back to their home countries by another route. Imagine the audacity of the hope of these men who risk their very lives in their defiance of a cruel and powerful ruler, so that they might protect a baby born in a barn to a young unwed mother. Imagine being so exhausted by the cruelty of the world you live in, you are willing to believe a star will guide you to salvation. Imagine being so convinced of the prophecy of a Savior that you listen to your own dreams. Imagine being so angry, so full of holy rage that you fall down and worship a baby in spite of the risk and the danger of your bold faith. There is indeed tremendous chaos in the world. War, famine, plague. So much is out of our individual control. Audacious hope, that mixture of anger and courage, is our call. We must live straddling the wire of despair. We must refuse to tumble into the belief that life will only ever be brutal and unfair. I believe in what the story of the birth of Jesus promises us, that the powerful will be cast down from their thrones, that the hungry will be fed, and the humble uplifted. I believe there are forces more powerful than those created by an ailing humanity, and I believe we can save one another. This is the growing light in a season of darkness. This is the place where miracles are born. Are you ready?